This time on Flannerys Porch, April confronts some of Andalusia's unjust history.
The recognition that I'm a white woman, so I can't fully comprehend what he thinks and feels. But that's why I engage him, so talk to me.
Flying to the clear blue skies, Andalusia, and your stories keep marching on.
Andalusia Farm is a lot busier place than it used to be. More than 5,000 people a year come to see for themselves where Flannery O'Connor lived, wrote, and died. That's enough of a crowd that April Carlson, who oversees visitors, hired a few part-time guides to help combat the craziness. One of the people she picked is Carrie. Being Black, Carrie brings a particular, sometimes uncomfortable perspective to this southern landmark.
You gotta look at the whole picture, basically. I'm a philosopher, and that's what I do. I look at the whole picture.
It's actually one of the things that piqued my interest when he applied for the job was I looked at his student engagement, and he's a mentor for high school students, for young African-American men, and he is part of this arts organization that speaks out for human rights and things like that. And with my own personal background in human rights, I have a natural proclivity towards wanting to bring that out, and there is a possible narrative here at Andalusia.
Sometimes I caught myself like, yeah, this is a great history, but then I think about it, it wasn't great history. It wasn't cool that Mrs. O'Connor, her lived like that and they lived like this. My grandma lived in the house like this. My mom lived in the house like this. I didn't live in a house like this, but it was raggedy.
I think some people who aren't familiar with what preservation is all about initially have that idea. But why are you preserving a place that embodied the sort of Jim Crow practices? Well, without preservation, how do we know what it was? So that's the ultimate import of preservation, is you gotta have the places so you can remember, so you can discuss it and work through these issues. If we just got rid of it all, we wouldn't remember. And that old adage, those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. So that's what preservation is about.
It turns out issues of equality and diversity are not just part of Andalusia's past. Even today, April says she's heard locals in Milledgeville refer to it as the Lesbian Farm. They're actually making an open reference to questions about Flannery's own sexuality and the letters she wrote to a gay friend.
She said she had a tendency to attract the lunatic fringe. The fact that she wasn't even identified as a lesbian per se, but that's the community, or at least certain people's perception of her.
Well, I think the jury's still out on Flannery's sexuality. I don't know if anyone has the real answer. Is it really the top thing to know about Flannery? I think you can appreciate her without seeing her as gay or Catholic or Southern or a woman. I think she's just a great writer and a wonderful artist.
Stories. One of the underlying themes to all of the various jobs that I've had are the stories at the core. It's what makes us tick. It's empathy. It's understanding where other people come from. What is it about stories?
The meaning of the redemption is precisely that we do not have to be our history. Flannery O'Connor.